the left side of the map, LG, I am happy. And yeah, Incredible Miracle is sponsored by LG now. To the right side we have Slayers Ryung. And our turn versus turn match.
Yep. It is cross positions on Antigua, as that is the GOM way, and now the way of all tournaments. Whenever I see a gold base on this map, I'm like, this must have been played on the ladder.
Yeah, I still don't get... Blizzard should definitely remove the gold patches.
I like the idea. When this map first came out, I was like, okay, the center is so hard to take. To put a gold base there, it's pretty cool because it's like really risky. Then like later I was like, actually, if you're a Terran, it's not really hard to take the center.
Do you know what I think? I think the reason why Blizzard does not remove gold bases on Antigua is because they don't want to admit that they actually kind of screwed up when they introduced gold bases to the game.
I don't know.
It's a nice idea, but the problem that I have with gold bases is if you are ahead and you take a gold base, you make such a huge leap that your opponent will never be able to get back into the game unless something really big happens. So a lot of players, and well, most of the maps that we cast don't have gold bases anymore, and I don't think that Blizzard is going to remove them from the ladder maps because that would be like admitting, okay guys, we like the idea, but it does not really work as we hoped.
Oh, I think that gold bases still have a place. Like, for example, you know the map Metropolis, where there are two bases on the edges that are islands? If those bases were gold bases, I'd be okay with that, because it's so hard to take that island. Nobody has ever taken that island base before. Like, that's never happened. Actually, in one crazy game, and I think it was KSL, I saw it once happen, but otherwise, like, that doesn't happen. And I think that the gold bases have a place if they're extremely hard to take or very risky. Like, for example, on Scrap Station, you could try to fast expand to the gold base, but it would be really easy to scout, and if it's scouted, you're dead. You know, that type of gold base, I'm like, okay.
You're actually right. Scrap Station was a map. The map itself was not balanced, but the idea or the positioning of the gold base, that was actually not too bad.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this game a little bit. We have
Gas first.
Yeah, gas first from Ryung. He's getting his factory up now. And the command center timing here for Happy is very normal. One barracks expand. He's getting his double gases behind this. Not going to be following up with double barracks like someone like Pult would do. We'll be going straight into the mech composition.
Yeah, and at this point, this gives him a bit of attack advantage, and I'm really interested to see if he is going to make it work, if it will pay off for him, because obviously his command center will be delayed by quite a bit, and this might be a problem for him later on. So, in our first turn versus turn, Ryung with a little bit more of an aggressive build, and this SCV was brilliant. He was able to get into the main base, he saw everything that he needed to see, and yeah.
Was he really that brilliant, though? He died, man. I would have been like, if someone told me and I were a brilliant SCV, I'd be like, listen, no, I'm not going in there.
We talked about remote control. We talked yesterday about remote control.
That would actually
be really very important.
Now I'm getting to see like a little bit of chit-chat between the IM coach and Gerard Prime talking to each other. It's always good to see good relationships between coaches. Really awesome, actually. I really like that. StarCraft II. StarCraft 1, it was there as well, but it's just really cool. I love when coaches and players from different teams are just friends with each other, chatting with each other. Too bad you guys couldn't see it, but I saw it. It was cool.
Yeah, we actually try to take a few more pictures these days. I've asked, well, it was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, if you want to see more of the backstage pictures. I tweeted one of Björn after his win against Tree earlier, so you can check it out on Twitter at Calder. Obviously, Wolf is also tweeting quite a lot. Has an awesome picture of the TSL coach fixing his computer.
Yeah.
It's at ProxyWolf.
Yep, TSL coach and I have been working on this PC for a few days now. There was some problem, and you know, Coach Lee was very hands-on on the PC. Like he loves making computers, and I was like, I think maybe it's a power supply. He was like, no, just look. He's like, don't touch it. He's like, I want to fix it. I was like, all right, okay. So he and I have been working on that for a few days. Finally, I think it's fixed. So I will make that announcement. I will be actually streaming very soon. I actually have to take my PC home in a taxi. I'm not carrying on the subway, that's crazy. So after the second cast today, I'll be taking that PC home, setting it up, installing all my necessary programs. It's a sick PC, it's super powerful. There's going to be a lot of streaming coming out of Wolf very soon.
And what's coming out of the main base of Ryung
is Cloak Banshees.
Exactly,
man.
The Banshee is on its way, the Cloak is nearly done. So far the game has been very passive. The expansion is now starting for Ryung as well. Obviously happy with this build, is a little bit ahead in economy, and he has prepared. He has prepared for this build. We have him with double, Happy that is. Happy has double missile turrets now, and he will be ready for the Banshee.
Yeah, he absolutely will. The Banshee will likely position itself not to be hit by a turret. That's a close call there. And the Viking has spotted it. He does have scan saved here as well. Oh, it's trapped between a Viking and a Marine place. Does get away with the Banshee, though.
Already able to, well, he had to use one scan already, so the Banshee is slowly but steadily starting to pay off, but there is a Raven on swing.
That's a lot of gas spent, though. And if you force a Raven, what you have done, actually, is equalize the gas that you've spent on the Banshees to force a Raven. So, making the Raven is, like, safe in some ways, but it's like, well, you spent the same amount of gas as you just spent on Cloak, so you lose in some ways as well with that. The key here is, though, he now has the same amount of tech as Ryung, and he's had his base up for longer. The Banshee has done only forcing a scan and a Raven. That's it.
And he's still able to kill a few units, so the Banshee with another kill attacking or harassing the SCVs that mine gas on a refinery. At this point I have to say that Ryung is doing quite well with this Banshee play, but he really has to make it count because his expansion was, as mentioned, a lot later in the game as Happy's, therefore also the supply advantage for Happy. And we have tech starting for Ryung. He is ahead in tech. That's the one thing that he really is going for him. Combat Shield is coming up. He has the first few siege tanks. He's getting additional add-ons, Engineering Bay. So, doing quite well here, but he has to be a bit careful because Happy can just start with his better economy. What's the harvester count at this point? Yeah, he's 43 against 33, so he's 10 harvester supply ahead.
And it looks like, but it looks like things Happy is going to be going into a mech composition here. He's still making double Marines, so he's mixing Marines in a little bit. But he's making a second factory now, and now a third factory, so he is going to be going into mech. But he's been making these Marines quite heavily as well, so he has support for his units in these earlier stages of the game. He did take a riskier expansion to make sure he doesn't want to die to one of Ryung's Marine tank Banshee timing attacks. He scans, he sees now Ryung's composition here, sees all those barracks, and he's like, alright, you're going Marine tank, I'm going mech. That's why I'm glad I made a decent amount of Marines at first. I'm not going to get stem, I'm not going to get combat shields though. I'm going to get a bunch of siege tanks, and I will likely beat you in the end. This is a good map for Marine tank though.
Yeah, it definitely is a good map for Marine tank, especially when you get into a position at the low ground and you can still target your opponent's production. That is probably not going to happen. We have a few buildings of Happy built a little bit too far to the right. But I guess with Medivacs he can also drop onto the high ground then and just use his tanks on the low ground in order to guard them.
Indeed.
But the positioning, we just saw the positioning for Happy's siege tanks, so that's something that he already anticipates. So his siege tanks are very well spread into a good position. He can work against drop play, but Ryung is not doing anything like it.
Yeah,
he's just going for a third base.
He's going for a third base as he gets kind of aggressive on the middle of the map, trying to beat his chest a little bit, scare his opponent perhaps. What I really like about what Happy has done here, and I was going to mention this earlier, but I forgot to. When you get this Raven, it's not only good to defend against Cloak Banshees, but also it's great for mech, because that's the only time the Raven's going to be useful is for Viking air superiority, or, for more importantly, against Marauders. And when you're going for mech, you will just encounter Marauders. You will. In fact, double Marauders being made right now for Ryung immediately, and his stem is about to finish as well as his +1. Blue Flame will finish for Happy, and he's moving out. If he takes control of the center here, this is going to be a big moment, and he will take control here. If you take control of the center with mech, it's awesome.
Happy also has a decent supply lead right now, not only in Harvester but also in army supply, so he's in a very good position here. He doesn't take a third base at this point, and Ryung might have overextended himself a little bit. Maybe he does not have enough units to hold this off. This is actually a very strong push. Nice scan here, enables the siege tanks to pick off a few of these Marines.
Oh man, this is great. But the point defense drone coming into play here quite a bit.
So important at this point, and he is doing an awesome job. Happy is just crushing these forces, and Ryung is backing off, and now the third base is exposed. He will have to lift.
Yep, he absolutely will. And with all these Vikings here, lifting is the last choice he wants to make, but he's going to have to do it. Well, either way, that command center is going to die. There's not much choice he has here in the matter. With good scans, he's going to try to run in here, but remember the point defense drones are still active.
Yes, they are, but he does not have enough Marines. The SCVs are being pulled as well.
Blue Flame Hellions!
The Hellions actually dodged those quite nicely, but, well, the siege tank catches them while they try to retreat.
And with every scan, with every time he wants to hit his opponent's tanks, he has to scan because Happy has the Viking control here. The orbital does not lift, it does just go down. But on the other hand, Happy does not have a third base, so he is very heavily committing to this.
We have 50 harvesters to 47. Even though Ryung just lost a few of his SCVs, he still has a decent count. There's another scan, and still he's contained at this point. So Happy just trying to reinforce with Hellions and of course siege tanks. Even a few Banshees being built now. This will enable him to pick off the siege tanks of Ryung.
Yeah, Ryung is basically in a checkmate position right now. I mean, he's not in checkmate, but he's like 3 moves away from checkmate, so he's desperately trying to scramble his brain, trying to figure out how can I break out here. Should I go for a big push with all my SCVs to break out of this contain? Is that something I want to do right now? Should I go for a big drop, for example? The 2 medevacs for Ryung are actually around the north part of the map. I don't know what they were doing. They were alone.
These Banshees will actually be really awesome because he does not have a lot of anti-air, just a few Marines in the mix, and he doesn't have any Vikings, so his siege tanks will be exposed.
Yeah, this is basically one of those 3 moves I was talking about. He does take out the point defense drone, but he's going to actually get this Banshee. Well done.
A little bit sloppy here by Happy, though. He should have seen this. I guess he was just macroing it up or getting his siege tanks into position. Didn't see the Marines that were charging in. Well done by Ryung. Sees an opening and takes it.
Oh, and he's going to go around the backside here, but Happy has his tanks seized up well. He's sending his reinforcing tanks back home, which part of his reinforcers are being cut off by a Banshee, which is not on screen, but it's actually cloaked, and it's killed several units. I think at least 2 siege tanks.
5 kills already, and now targeting the units in the main base. He needs another scan here, and there it is. Uses the scan. You didn't see it on screen, but the Banshee of Happy, of Ryung, it is dead. And here come the Marauders, just trying to charge in, but the siege tanks on the high ground doing a fair amount of damage. It's just too much. As well.
Was that a Manor command center? What was up with that? I guess not. Like, I don't know why he made that command center. I saw him make it in plain sight of those units.
And this is what we talked about. The siege tanks on the low ground can attack the production buildings of Ryung.
Yeah, he can just pick those tanks off with the Banshee as well.
A lot of pressure.
There's no way to stop this. This is why I was like, oh, he's 3 moves away from checkmate. This is move 3, which is to start killing your opponent's units with the Banshee because he doesn't have any Marines. If he tries to stem and kill the Banshee, he dies to the tanks on the low ground. If he tries to kill the Banshee with Vikings, his Viking dies beforehand because his opponent has too many Vikings and point defense drones.
And look at Happy now, moving out with the rest of his units in the middle of the map. We have a bit of an engagement, but this is unwinnable for Ryung. No. He's trying to push out here before those 2 armies actually merged, and he might be able to take this, but even the Vikings with the assault mode, and here come the reinforcements, and this is just GG. Ryung down to 80 supply against 135 in this composition. Ryung just can't beat this.
No, he cannot. This is the end here, and I'm a little bit surprised that Ryung was not able to take this first game. I really expected him to have such an advantage over Happy here, but Happy just plays so safe. GG. So safe, great build order, and the Banshee just did no damage early on, and that's where he not only did he get a lead, but he teched up quickly and surpassed his opponent in tech, made the better composition, and what could Ryung do from there? He tried to take a fast third base. He did not have enough presence on the map to hold the center. If you ever lose the center of the map in this matchup, it's terrible, especially when your opponent's going back. Then, he not only did he lose that, he lost control of his third base. If you lose that, then it's like, well, I don't know, man. What are you going to do next? You lost a command center for free. You weren't able to mine any from that. Your tech is behind. Your opponent has better Viking control than you. He's going to have better vision. He's got point defense, so you can't use your Marauders.
It was just a very, very solid game by Happy.
That's how mechs should be played, and that's how it was done. I was happy to watch Happy play that game. That wasn't even a joke, but I was like, well, it's true, man. I was happy to watch him play it.
Well, the next map is going to be Cloud Kingdom, guys. We just wait for Ryung to enter the game. I'm not quite... Okay, I was thinking... Are they actually allowed to watch the replays? I don't think they are, but...
No, not in GSL. Not allowed.
That was really well played by Happy. I have to give it to him. Props to Happy, well played. And now he's facing Ryung on Cloud Kingdom. He will in a few seconds. The countdown is on. So let's see if Ryung is able to get back into this game. But Happy, you look pretty scary here. So, well, he has the 1-0 lead. The loading screen is up. Let's see what's happening on Cloud Kingdom. A little bit of a smaller map and just started. So let's not waste any more time. GSL Code 8 with Colin Wolf.